So today I'm going to be going over a tutorial regarding how to get custom idle images onto your DJI FPV goggles. This is using the margerine exploit, so that's going to be a prerequisite for doing this hack to your goggles. Just make sure you have that set up and completed before you do that. Any of this stuff you're about to see, it's pretty simple. Just look up the margerine exploit online, and you can find the GitHub and follow the pretty simple instructions on how to do that. This is confirmed to work on the V2 goggles. I personally have the V2 goggles. It should be the exact same on the V1s though, but I have not personally tested that, so if it doesn't work, someone can let me know. Basically, we're just going to jump right into this. Another thing you're going to need for this tutorial is GIMP. Make sure you have GIMP. It's a free photo editing software that you can download online pretty easily, and it just allows us to edit these photos in the way that we would like to. So as you can see, I already have some images picked out here. So this is an image I'm going to use today. First step, you're just going to want to open these in GIMP. So we're going to open in GIMP, and we're just gonna, it's going to give you this pop-up. Just basically say keep. We don't really care about that. There may be some benefit, but I don't personally see the need to convert it if you don't have to. So what we're going to do now is go in here, and you've got your image loaded. So we're going to go to image. We're going to go to scale image, and this is a really important step. So the resolution of these images is going to be 1440p by 810. And that should be for the V1 goggles as well, but like I said, haven't confirmed that. So you're gonna make sure you go to, you're gonna want to make sure you go to scale image here. It's just under image and then scale image. And you're gonna want to make sure you set the horizontal or the width to 1440 pixels. And don't worry about the height yet. We're gonna do that in a separate step here in just a second. So basically, this is gonna scale it. Once you put in 1440, just hit scale, adjust the image properly. And now what we're going to do is we're going to go to canvas size, and we're going to select the height now. So we basically set the width to the proper resolution. We now need to set the height. So we need to set this to 810 and just hit enter. It's going to give you this preview window here where you can move this around. Basically, you can move the image within the new footprint. So you can either center it like that, or you can adjust it however you like. So it's kind of hard to see, it's a little small, but it's good enough for what you want to do. So once you do that, just hit resize. It's going to crop this image down to whichever size, to the size that we specified. So this is now the correct sized image. I'm just going to show one other example that would work slightly differently. So I have a separate image here. It is, let's see, this image here. It's a pretty wide image. It's a pretty wide aspect ratio. So this is going to work a slightly different way to the other image I just showed, in that you're going to want to scale the vertical first. And I'll show you here why. So we're just going to open this with GIMP. Again, same process. We open it with GIMP, just hit keep. Now this is up. So basically we've got to go to image, scale image, and we're going to set the height to 810 on this image, because basically what happens with how the resolution works on this image, due to its aspect ratio, if you set the width to 1440, it's going to lower the resolution of the height much below 810 pixels. So you always want to make sure that when you're scaling it, when you're scaling either the width or the height, that the other one that you're not scaling here is higher than 810 or higher than 1440, so you can crop it down. So basically what we're going to do here is we're going to set this to 810, to enter. You're going to see this jumps up to higher than 1440, which is what we want. So we hit scale. This is set up properly now, so now we can go to image, canvas size, and we are going to set the canvas size to 1440 here on the width, and just hit enter. That's going to adjust this. So basically now you can see I can move this thing horizontally. And we're just going to mostly center it. Pretty good when it's centered. And we're just going to hit resize. So now it's the same thing as we did here. these are now both the same aspect ratio and the same pixel count, which is what we want to do. Now the next step you're going to want to do here for both of these images, so because there's 2 images on the goggles, you can replace up to 2 images, so I'm going to just do both at the same time. It makes it a little bit easier for me to demonstrate. So you have to do these steps for both images, but what we're going to do is go to Layer, go to Transparency, and if this here is not grayed out, if it says add alpha channel, you're going to want to make sure you add one. It may still be a good idea just to remove it and add it back if there's already one there, but just make sure you add that. That just is a formatting thing for the goggles. If it doesn't have it, it just formats it really weird. So make sure you have that there. Then the last step here, and granted you have to do this for both images if you're replacing both, is go to Colors, Components, Channel Mixer, and I'm going to explain this here. So the goggles flip the red and blue channels. So you end up with an image that looks something like this in the goggles if you just upload, this image raw without adjusting these settings. Oh, I guess that disappears if you click off of it. Oh. So yeah, we need to basically switch those channels. So within Channel Mixer, you're going to see you have red, green, blue. What you're going to want to do is set the red and red channel to 0 because we're trying to swap these around. So this is going to be 0 here. We're going to set blue to 1. What that basically does is it puts the blue channel in, like the blue channel data in, the blue color data in the red channel, which is what we want to do. And then it's just the same process for the blue channel down here. So we're going to set this to 1, set red into the blue channel, and then we're going to remove the blue in the blue channel. Set this to 0. So now your image is going to look something like this, and you're going to say, oh, this looks really weird. Trust me, once you upload it to the goggles, it flips it back, it looks normal. So now last step here is going to be exporting this. So there are 2 image files on the goggles, like I've mentioned before, and they're named, they have 2 different names. They're very, very similar though. So you have, let's see, you have screen01.data, and you're going to have screen02.data. And these are ones that I've generated previously, but you're going to want to make sure that you have them set in this exact formatting. So all lowercase, no spaces, 0, 1, and no other extensions. So make sure it's just screen01.data or screen02.data, depending on which image you're using. Screen01.data does show up before screen02.data, so if that really matters to you, you can adjust that. I don't think it's that big of a deal. So we're going to save this as screen01.data. You can see here, I have this pulled up. You're going to hit export here. I already have an image file. I'm just going to replace it. Not a big deal. Hit replace. And now here's the important part. So you're going to want to make sure that this is not set to this right here. You don't want BMP. You want normal on the RGB save type. And this top RGB save type, just set it to standard. If you set it to planner, it just messes with the image and the goggles will not interpret it correctly. So make sure it's in this formatting here, hit export. Now, you're gonna see I have it saved to my desktop. You can save it wherever you'd like, but I have this here. Now, this is the second part. So you're gonna wanna make sure you take your goggles with the margarine exploit already enabled on them. I would take out the SD card. That's just kind of something I say when you're doing the margarine exploit. I don't know if you have to take it out after, but better be safe than sorry. You're gonna want to make sure you have a USB cable that has data transfer. Obviously, if you've already done the exploit, you probably do have that, so make sure you have that. And then also make sure your battery is, if you're powering off the goggle battery for the V2s, or if you're powering it off of just normal LiPos for the V1s or the V2s, I suppose. Make sure that that's fully charged and it's not going to die during this process. Otherwise, you can always just plug it into a standard power adapter. I use my TS100 adapter for my soldering iron as my power for when I'm doing stuff with this. It just makes it a little easier. I don't have to worry about battery life. So make sure you have that plugged in. Once you have that plugged in set up, you're going to hear it, connect and whatever else. I just unplugged mine. I have mine plugged in already. So for the second part of this, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to download the platform tools for Android. It is basically the ADB debugging tools for Android devices. You can just find them online. Just look up platform tools or ADB debugging tools for Android. I already have them downloaded, so we're just going to go to my downloads and find them. They do download as a zip, so just make sure you have them unzipped before you do this. So, sorry, platform tools, what am I doing? Here we go. So here's my platform tool. As you can see, I have the zip file here. Thank you, Windows. I have it unzipped here. Just make sure you go into the unzipped one, open it all the way into this area here. You want to make sure you're past the platform tools folder here. And then you're going to want to make sure that you right click while holding shift. So if you don't right click while shifting, it's not going to bring up the option to open with Windows PowerShell. That's something that I had to figure out myself, and a lot of tutorials don't explain. If you know, for ADB debugging and platform tools, they don't really explain that. So just make sure you have that. It's pretty simple. Just hit Open PowerShell window here. Now it's going to bring you this window. So this is something you want to do is just test and see, make sure ADB is working. So just do ADB and devices. And this is with the goggles plugged in, of course. So it's going to give me this error. Sometimes this happens. Sometimes you have to run it with a prefix, these commands. So if you get this error, just end up running everything else that I have in this video with a prefix like I'm going to be doing. So you have to use the period / prefix on this. So it's just period / and then the command. So we're going to do ADB devices. This is going to show the list of devices attached, so we can tell these are the goggles here because I have no other devices connected. Make sure you like unplug your phone and whatnot, other Android devices from your computer before you do this, just so you're not pushing files to random devices that you don't know, what's going on with that. So yeah, we can tell this is that device. It's the goggles. I only have one thing plugged in. That's perfect. We know they're connected. The margin exploit's working properly. Perfect. So now what we have to do is use the ADB push command. So this basically sends a file to a directory on the goggles. As you can see here, the directory on the goggles is going to be the system/GUI one. It's just don't mess with that one at all. That's going to be standard for, I think, at least for the V2s. The V1s should be the exact same though. And then here we have the file location, and make sure you have the file name at the end of it. So you can see it's in my desktop, and then there's the file I'm pushing screen 01. You can also push screen 02 the same exact way, just change it to screen 02. Make sure you have the quotes on either side, the single quotes, and then the spaces between everything. So once you do that, all you gotta do is just hit enter. It's gonna say, it's gonna give you this like feedback here, so just make sure it says 1 file pushed, 0 skipped. The speed doesn't matter as long as it got over there, and it brings you back to the command line here, and it's just ready to take another command. So as long as that's done you're set. Now what I would do, especially if you're pushing 2 files, is wait a little bit between pushing them. I've had some issues if I push both of them, like screen 01 and screen 02 back to back too quickly, it'll corrupt the first file. So just wait a second between each one, and then also wait a second before you unplug the goggles, because you are going to have to restart these goggles after you push this file to them. So just wait like 10 seconds, and you're all set to unplug. So then just unplug your goggles, plug them back in, and wait for the files to, or wait for the goggles to boot up, and then show the idle screens, and then your images should be on there. So with that, that's it for this tutorial. Thanks for watching it. Big thanks to the guys and gals at that did the margin exploit and have come out with all the documentation for it. It's been really great. Big thanks to these guys. And yeah, happy flying.